Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights is now regarded as a modern classic. His epic tale of the 1970s featuring the rise, fall, and ultimate redemption of a porn star is a film that's aged incredibly well. In today's video, I'll go over the film's story, its theme, and will also include a few unusual film references. In 2017, Boogie Nights will celebrate its 20th anniversary. It's definitely had its impact on pop culture, and if you're like me, you'll never ever hear Rick Springfield's Jesse's Grill without immediately saying,
Ricky Springfield, the buddy of mine!
Fair warning, this analysis will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, I suggest you watch it first before viewing this video. At the young age of 27, Paul Thomas Anderson released his second feature film, Boogie Nights. The film originally began as a short Spinal Tap-like documentary titled The Dirk Diggler Story, which Anderson shot when he was only 17. But the young auteur took most of his story's inspiration from the sad, dark story of real-life porn actor John Holmes. Holmes, who had appeared in over 2,900 adult films, was also tried but never convicted in his involvement with the drug-related Wonderland murders. And many of Holmes' actual films are even referenced in Boogie Nights.
Just visiting San Francisco. Some people told me the food in here was really good.
Good? No, it's not good. It's probably the best place in San Francisco to eat. It's excellent.
Just visiting LA. Some people told me the food in here was really good.
Good? It's not good. It's probably the best place to eat in all Los Angeles. It's excellent.
Besides the Holmes films are the obvious influences of directors Martin Scorsese and Robert Altman. And if you're really paying attention, you'll even notice P.T.A. sneak in some not so obvious references. In Dirk Diggler's first scene, you see a picture of actor Elliot Gould from the 1970 film Getting Straight, about a Vietnam vet who comes home and tries to assimilate back into society.
Well, I've been in the Marines for 3 years. I just got back from a tour of duty.
You're kidding.
In the film's stereo shop scene, Buck Swoop, played by Don Cheadle, is making a sales pitch to a customer for the TK421 modification. TK421 is not an actual stereo unit, but a reference to Star Wars, which came out the same year Boogie Nights begins, 1977. TK421 is the name of a stormtrooper whose armor is used by Luke Skywalker to get onto the Death Star. And like Luke Skywalker, Buck Swoop also acquires other people's armor, as he's seen throughout the film, searching for an identity. P.T.A.'s Hard 8, originally titled Sydney, even references one of the characters in Boogie Nights. Jimmy, played by Samuel L. Jackson, tells Philip Baker Hall's Sydney about an Atlantic City criminal named Floyd Gondoli.
Shit, man. I know all those guys you know. Floyd Gondoli, Jimmy Gator, Mumbles O'Malley. They like to sit around in Clifton's and talk.
Coincidentally, or not coincidentally, Philip Baker Hall plays Floyd Gondoli, the porn financier in Boogie Nights, who clashes with Jack Horner over the future of film. The soundtrack also uses many musical cues that directly relate to the story. Dirk Diggler belts out Stan Bush's The Touch, which was originally used in the 1986 animated film Transformers the Movie, a song about self-motivation used effectively in the big screen version of a Saturday morning kids show. Anderson uses The Touch in an ironic way, as Dirk Diggler's cocaine-fueled ego also sings a song about self-motivation. But Boogie Nights is not only a film about references, so let's take a closer look at the film's theme. While Boogie Nights is a film about pornography, doesn't mean that Boogie Nights is pornography. The film chooses to not explicitly show the act of sex, but rather focuses on the backstories of the film's characters. Anderson's world is about broken people who create surrogate families while living a circus life. In fact, composer Michael Penn's score for the film drives that theme home before the film even starts. So now let's break down the story and theme of Boogie Nights. We begin with Eddie Adams, played by Mark Wahlberg. Eddie's real home is not a happy one. His real father doesn't assume the fatherly role, and his real mother is an abusive alcoholic. Eddie eventually leaves because his home is broken.
Stupid, so what are you gonna do?
I'll do something, I'll do it. You know what, I'll go somewhere and I'll do something. Maybe I'll run away where you can never find me.
Eddie runs out of one home and walks into a new one. Jack Horner, terrifically played by Burt Reynolds, assumes the father role that Eddie's lacking. He even tells Eddie to take on a new name, as Eddie eventually becomes Dirk Diggler. Let's take a quick look at the diner seat. See how Anderson has his cast placed in the frame. On one side you have Jack and Amber, who represent the surrogate father and mother, and on the other, you have Dirk and Roller Girl, who represent the surrogate son and daughter. Amber Waves, played by Julianne Moore, assumes the mother role. See how half the frame is empty in this scene. Then we cut back to Dirk, who also sits next to an empty frame, emphasizing the void that occupied these characters' lives. Amber Waves is referred to many times in the film as mom or mother.
She's the best. She's a wonderful mother, you know. She's a mother to all those who need love.
She's a surrogate mother to both Dirk and Roller Girl. In one scene, Roller Girl, played by Heather Graham, even asked Amber to be her mom.
I'll ask you if you're my mom, okay? And you say yes, okay? Are you my mom?
Yes, honey.
When Dirk enters Jack's house, he meets Reed Rothschild, played by John C. Reilly. The two surrogate brothers have also assumed their roles in Jack's family. Dirk becomes a favorite son, but then his role in the family is threatened by new star Johnny Doe.
Really? You're not the boss of me.
Yes, I am.
Were you the king, huh? Yes!
The family unit breaks apart, and then Dirk tells Amber,
You're not the mother of me, and you're not my boss. You're not my mother. You're not my fucking mom.
Another interesting element to Boogie Nights is the New Year's scene. We, the audience, see how these characters' world will change in an instant. The New Year's Eve party foreshadows the beginning of the 80s. The party is over. Film dies, and video lives. The characters are no longer the rock stars they were at the beginning of the film, and like the bad videotape of the 1980s, their existence goes from being larger than life to pedestrian. When Dirk Diggler falls from grace, he has nowhere else to go and returns back to the only people who we can call family. Jack has become like a father figure to Dirk. He took on the father figure role since Dirk's real father couldn't. The final tracking shot in Boogie Nights reiterates the theme of family as Jack walks through the house and, like a father to his child, tells Roller Girl to clean her room. The sequence ends with the father telling the mother how much he loves her in the most unconventional way.
You staring.
You know what I'm staring at? I'm staring at the foxiest bitch in the whole world.
But that's the point of the film. Boogie Nights is a story about how unconventional, unique, and broken people are able to build their own family. At the beginning of the film, there's something incredibly childlike about Dirk Diggler. We witness his progression from a boy to an adolescent and finally to a man who's taken responsibility for his mistakes and is ready to face manhood. Like the rest of the characters in Boogie Nights, Dirk Diggler's progression as a person is fostered by the very thing all humans need: family. And what do you do when you no longer have a family to turn to? You create your own. I'm Jeremy Hamley, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.